fire chief here. I heard there was a ribeye cooking in this kitchen, and I just wanted to warn you to make sure you go by the rules. Hey everyone, it's Seda here, Gourmet Next Door. So tonight we're gonna be making a nice ribeye steak with a cream sauce, and on the side I'm gonna do roasted asparagus. It's a classical combination and it tastes so good. So let me walk you through my ingredients. So first and foremost, we have this gorgeous ribeye steak. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. Now, the second thing is of course my beautiful asparagus. I have 1 shallot, I have 2 garlic cloves, 2 sprigs of rosemary, and handful of Italian parsley. And then for the sauce, I'm gonna go ahead and use heavy cream. I'm gonna use some butter and some olive oil and good old salt and pepper. So with that, let's get steaking. So just in case we have fire in the kitchen while making the ribeye steak, I'm okay because you know I got my fireman's hat on. You guys have to give me credit, huh? In a lockdown, I'm using all the hats that I have for I don't know what reason to entertain you. And I love it. So let me tell you a little bit about the ribeye steak, okay? So the ribeye steak, this is about 300 gram ribeye steak. So what I did with this, I brought it from the store and then I basically salted and peppered both sides. I use the Malden sea salt, so you can use any kind of salt, but I prefer the sea salt flakes and black pepper, both sides. Now, you don't want to put this covered or in some sort of a container because that way the moisture will stay in the steak. The reason we put the salt ahead of time is to make sure that the steak is dried out. So what I do is I use kind of a little grill like this and I put my steak literally like this and then I put it in the fridge. So I did this yesterday and it's been essentially drying out since yesterday. And I tried many times ribeye recipes, and honestly this is the best one because this way the meat is nice and tender and juicy inside, and you get that nice crispy outside. And I'm gonna show you that in 1 second. I'm gonna go ahead and heat my pan here. I'm using a Teflon pan, you can use cast iron as well. I'm gonna turn on the heat to high, okay? Because we basically want the pan super hot because I want that nice little crust on my steak. So at this point, I want to go ahead and add my olive oil and butter. We add the butter for the browning effect. Now I'm adding a dab of butter. There's going to be more butter coming later when I'm going to baste the steak. Now steak is the first thing I'm putting here to cook because I want it to cook first and then I'm gonna rest it. Don't ever cut into a freshly cooked steak because all the juices are gonna run out and you're gonna end up with a dry piece of meat. So always rest it before you cut into it. As I'm heating my pan, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my air fryer because my asparagus is gonna go in there. So when you start to see the bubbles in the butter, that means it's done and it's ready for the steak. So I'm gonna take my nice piece of steak and put it in there. That's it. Now let's go ahead and prep the asparagus because as soon as that air fryer is done, I wanna go ahead and put the asparagus into the air fryer. Now I wanna show you very quickly what's gonna happen with the asparagus. These parts of the asparagus is extremely woody and chewy, so you don't wanna cook that. So take the asparagus and just naturally try to bend it. Do you see where it breaks? This is where you need to cut all the asparagus because that means the other part is woody and you wanna basically use it for a stock or something like that, but don't eat it. So I'm gonna basically cut all the asparagus at the same level as the other one. Guys, I think the other mistake many people do when you're making steak or meat is poke it. Don't poke the meat, okay? Let it just cook and do its thing because that's how you're gonna get that nice crust on the steak if you don't move it. So don't touch it. I know it's tempting, but don't touch it. Let it cook, I would say 3 minutes on the first side. 3 to 4 minutes on the first side. Okay guys, this has been cooking for 3 to 4 minutes and I just want to turn it now and show you my beautiful crust. You guys see it? Yes, that's what we want. So now I will do the same. I'm gonna leave my steak to cook there for only 3 to 4 minutes because I like my steak medium. But depending on your liking, you can cook it more. So I have my asparagus here. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little olive oil. And then just toss it around. It's a good shaky exercise. I haven't danced yet in the video. And now it goes into the air fryer. Guys, I tried it many times. Asparagus in the air fryer. You need only 5 minutes, 200 degrees. That's it. It's gonna be beautiful green and perfectly tender. Now, as my steak is cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and prep 1 garlic clove. I'm not going to chop it, but I'm gonna drop it with the rosemary into the oil. And this way we can baste the steak. And this is what it's gonna give it an additional flavor. So I got 2 sprigs of rosemary and 1 garlic clove. It goes into the oil. Guys, look at this. Beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit more butter. Oh. Now what you do is that garlic and rosemary is basically flavoring the butter at the moment. So you take your spoon and you baste it. You see? You baste the steak. So this way it's soaking up all those flavors and it's gonna go into the steak and it's gonna be nice and delicious. Guys, the steak is cooked. I'm gonna remove it from the heat. Look at this crust. Now it's going to rest up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of this rosemary and the garlic in the pan. At this moment, I wanna go ahead and make my easy cream sauce. This is super easy and super delicious. So as you know, my favorite base in the world is shallot and garlic. I was gonna actually make a mushroom sauce, but I don't have mushrooms, so this is gonna be basically like a nice creamy black pepper sauce. So you wanna turn the heat down to a medium heat as you're prepping your veggies, and the pan is off the heat so it can actually cool down a bit. Because if I just add my veggies right now, everything's gonna be completely cooked. So, shallots, small dice. This shallot is making me cry. Let's put the oil back on the heat. Drop the shallots. You see it didn't sizzle, that means the oil is cooled down. Now it starts. So my butter is actually a little bit brown now, which is perfect because it's gonna give the sauce a really nice deep flavor. I have 1 garlic clove here, which I'm gonna also drop into the oil. And the asparagus is done, but I'm gonna give it 1 second before I drop this in and then we'll check it. Okay, let's go ahead and chop our garlic. Absolutely amazing. Garlic goes in. Let's give this guy a little stir. Everything is cooking down nicely. Now this sauce is nice because you're not using flour. It's not like a bechamel, you know. So it's basically going to be thickened up with the heavy cream. And that is going to be it. Let us check the asparagus. Guys, I want to show you my asparagus. Look at them. They are so nice and tender. Not overcooked, beautiful green color. I'm gonna park this on the side for a second as I get my sauce finished, and then it will be time to eat. If I had the mushrooms, I would add them at this point. So you wanna cook down the mushrooms before you add anything else. Now is the time for some heavy cream. So I'm using this Elevir whipping cream. I love this stuff. You can cook with it, you can bake with it, you can make desserts with it, and of course it's in a Tetra Pak package. You know, I worked for Tetra Pak for 13 years, so yeah, I love that company and I love Tetra Pak packaging. So let's go ahead and add some cream. Now you want to stir this as you add into the pan. Very nice. It's gonna be so thick and creamy and luscious. And again, no flour. So I'm just using the fat in the whipping cream to give me that flavor. Now I want to go ahead and add a nice dose of black pepper because it's gonna be kind of a black pepper sauce. Okay, it's gonna be spicy but peppery. I want to go ahead and salt it a bit as well. I'm going to go ahead and give this a try because if I need to adjust the seasoning, this is the time to do so. A little more salt. Look at how luscious it looks. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, my sauce is done. I don't want to reduce it further, so I'm going to remove it from the heat. Let's go ahead and chop the parsley because this is going to go into our beautiful sauce. I love a little green. I love a little herb at the end. Chop this as finely as you can because it just tastes better. Sharp knife. Bruno's right here. You guys don't see it, but he's the fire chief. He wants to make sure that steak is in good hands. Now I'm gonna put most of it into my sauce. But I'm gonna go ahead and save some for the garnish. Oh, my sauce is so thick and luscious. Beautiful. Guys, the time has come and now is the time to cut into the steak. It's well rested. And I can't wait to look at what this looks like. So let's go ahead and give this a nice diagonal cut. Oh, guys, I have to show you this, but give me 1 second. Okay. I want you to see how perfectly cooked this steak is. It's pink in the middle, not bloody, so it's perfectly medium. And honestly, I can't wait. I'm going in. Wish me luck. That steak is perfect as is, but I'm gonna go ahead and of course dress it up with the sauce. So let's go ahead and plate up. I have this beautiful plate here. Let's go ahead and lay our asparagus. Look at how beautiful that color looks. Now I'm going to continue cutting my steak. Let's see if I can go ahead and pick this up before I make a mess. Woo. Oh, that's pretty good. Perfect. Now is the time for the sauce. So I just want it running in the middle because I don't want to cover up that beautiful steak, huh? So my leftover parsley and a dash of salt. That's how you finish a nice steak dinner. Okay, now is the time to try the steak, and honestly, I'm going for the end piece. I love this end piece because it's nice and crunchy outside and soft inside. I got lots of sauce on there, so I'm going in. It's so tender, so juicy. Guys, give this recipe a try. Let me know how it goes. I think this qualifies as a men-friendly recipe. Let me know. I mean, all men that I've met and I know love steak. So, stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned for more fires to come from my kitchen to yours. Ciao!